Welcome to the highlights and match reaction show for the UEFA Champions League. We are sponsored by our partners for the entire season at Topps Kick 23. Topps Kick are the official digital collectibles app of the UEFA Champions League. Topps Kick is back for the 22-23 season, where you can collect and trade your favorite players from across the Champions League with football fans all around the world. The app has new packs available every week, brand new cards, original artworks, and classic top card designs. Throughout the course of this season, I want to build with you the ultimate Champions League squad with Topps Kick. So get the app downloaded right now. It's available worldwide and it is free. I'm going to be playing along throughout the entire Champions League season from tonight right and through to the final, and I want to see you there. The link is available in the description below to download the Topps Kick 23 app. You can also scan the QR code that will be on the screen throughout the course of this stream. But make sure like buttons are being smashed. You're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Big shout out to Topps. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. Smash the like and share buttons. A brilliant, brilliant performance from Graham Potter's men against RB Salzburg. Fantastic goals from Kovacic. An absolute screamer from Kai Havertz to put Chelsea into the knockout stages. They haven't won the group as of yet, but they are through to those knockout stages. 9 games, 6 wins. No defeats as of yet for Graham Potter, and probably the most fluid night in relation to his style of play as well. I'm joined by Jessica Black. How are you?
I'm good. It was an exciting game, I think.
Yes.
We saw 3 really good goals. We saw really good football as well. Like, I think against Man United, I think I said, like, I didn't see Potter ball from Chelsea. Like, it was disjointed and wasn't very fluid. Today, we saw it in all of its glory. And I do think in certain parts of the game, I think some Chelsea fans will probably agree, is that you got all of Potter ball, which was also not putting away those gilt-edged chances. But Kai Havertz comes up with a wonder goal and they walk away top of the group and feeling good. And like you said, that's a really good record for Potter starting out, as the manager for Chelsea. So yeah, all smiles, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know what? Fans. Like, we had David in here on Saturday, and he was saying, I keep hearing you, Terry, say online that you're impressed with us, and I'm not impressed yet. I don't know how much more impressed you could be with a manager coming in with no preseason, none of his own signings, kind of very quickly and out of the blue. Nobody expected Tuchel to be sacked. A week later, Graham Potter's the manager. He plays 9 games. He's had multiple clean sheets, scoring more goals, no defeats, 6 wins. It was that 65% win ratio. Mm-hmm. It's been a phenomenal start. Perfection, no. But what was anybody expecting? He doesn't play the same style of football as Thomas Tuchel, so he's having to train players. You could argue there are even players signed this summer just gone. The Graham Potter probably wouldn't go out of his way to sign himself. They had to make some, because of the issues they had with players leaving, because they couldn't get new deals done because of the sanctions. They weren't able to focus on every key area. The signings like Aubameyang were very well documented as being makeshift signings for this year, and they're going to look for better quality strikers going forward. When you factor that all in, Graham Potter's start as Chelsea manager has been nothing short of sensational, in my opinion. Nothing short of sensational. All things being considered, with everything going on. It isn't even though he went into a club with continuity. He's gone into a club that have just been purchased. They don't have a sporting director. They've just hired a technical director. They've got RB running things. And look, I think he's done a very good job, all things considered so far. And Graham Potter, what a start. The man had never even been to a Champions League game to watch as a fan. And now what has he played? 3, 1, sorry, played 3, 1-3? I think in the Champions League. I might be slightly wrong about that. I didn't check. But he's beaten. He drew the first one, I think. I think he drew the first one, so he played 4 then. Because I swear he won back-to-back against AC Milan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's done sensational. He really, really has done sensational. And I haven't looked at each and every single game. I don't remember all the results. But barring the first match that was a little bit drab, I think he's done a very, very good job indeed. Let's take a look at some of these super chats that have come through here. The first one says Salzburg hadn't lost at home since February 2021. Also haven't lost at home in the Champions League for a while. Formation scared me a bit, but happy with the win. It was 40 games unbeaten at home tonight for them as well, which is, absolutely impeccable. It really is. Chelsea already top the group. Check it out. Well, they're on top of the group now. I don't think the other game's kicked off yet, has it?
I'm not. No.
Yeah, I don't think they've topped the group as it's. Let me just go and check. I can check. They'll be top of the group right now.
Yeah, they're
but
top of the group.
I've just got to wait for us to load in my screen. I want to make sure we get the facts as accurate as possible. For some reason, my computer does not want to load. I don't know why. It's loading now. So, yeah, Chelsea are top of the group. But, of course, Dynamo Zagreb haven't played. They can't be caught, though. 6 points. Well, Dynamo Zagreb have beaten them. So, theoretically, if Dynamo Zagreb win tonight and then beat Chelsea, they'd go top. But it's unlikely. So Chelsea have pretty much topped the group. So, yeah, you're right. Not mathematically done, but pretty much on the way. See here says great results. Should have been 3 or 4 goals on to round 16. Better fluidity, but need to move the ball quicker at times. Kai, great finish. Play more like this. And, Kai Havertz did have a good game. There's no doubt about it. And, we sort of broke down. So let me remove that comment so you can see this better. We broke down the sort of statistics as you can see here, and there's one thing I really wanted to focus on. He lost the ball 22. He created one chance, scored a goal that was an absolute cracker, but lost the possession 22 times. And the question is, Jess, do you think that impressed me or annoyed me?
I feel like there's an ulterior motive here.
I'll answer what you think I think about that.
I think you think it's fine because creative players have to try hard things in order to, make chances. And so the percentage doesn't really mean that much.
There's not a highly creative player or high goal scoring player, especially from those attacking midfield roles in world football, who isn't losing the ball between 15 to 25 times per game. Mm-hmm. There just isn't. Because when one of those loss of possessions is the goal. Because when you score a goal, you lose possession, right? He had a very good game tonight, Kai Havertz. He had a header that he should have buried from early on, and people were like, that makes it a bad game. But he kept on getting himself into the right positions. Some good touches, some good movement of the ball. He needs to do this on a more regular basis, there's no doubt. But a good night from him tonight.
I think that's what Chelsea fans are going to focus on when it comes to Kai Havertz, because we've seen this from him before. Like, how long has he been at Chelsea? 4 seasons, 3 seasons.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's more what it is than anything, is how can he replicate these same performances in the Premier League, make it more consistent. But we know that he has this sort of talent, and to be called world-class, we had this conversation, the talent can be there, but it has to be consistent. He definitely has all the talent. He can do it.
Yeah, he does. He does have the talent. And listen, there's a long way to go. I'm not saying that tonight's performance papers over and fix more than paper. Doesn't fix all the issues that he's had. He has to become more consistent for being one of the club's record fees. There's no doubt. But tonight is what you want to see from him. He's never going to score all his chances. He's never going to create a big chance with every single through ball or cross that he makes. But that perseverance is key. And I think sometimes with Kai Havertz, he'll try something once, he'll try it twice, and then that's why his nickname exists. He then becomes shy, and he shies away from the game. He hides in the game, and he's never really involved. And to be part of Graham Potter's philosophy, every player needs to essentially grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And I really think he did that tonight in a massive, massive way. And the other impressive player was, and we sort of started a little bit of a Twitter debate about this, Kovacic came on against Man United and really helped change the game for Chelsea. Tonight started and was absolutely sensational.
Yeah, I think Kovacic is somebody that, he's probably on that edge of world class. We're not quite sure, but he was definitely world class in this game. There were things that he was doing in this game that maybe I hadn't seen before, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, but he's always been attributed to being a really good dribbler, but he was also doing a lot of playmaking from those positions, those through balls into the attackers. And I just thought he had a really good, well-rounded performance. And he showed why he's so important to the Chelsea team and why he needs to be fit, because when he's there, there's such a different team.
Yes, of course. I mean, the world-class question is so intriguing because everybody has a different definition. And I tweeted it out, and nearly every Chelsea fan either said, yes, he is, or when fit, which essentially means ability-wise, he's world-class. There was a few that said what I think, and that's on his days world-class. I wouldn't put him in that world-class category because I don't see it consistently enough. Now, that could be because of the injury problems. He's always in and out of his flow. He's not able to sort of maintain it. But your injury record is part of is an attribute. Your ability to stay fit is an attribute. The same as your first touch, the same as your passing, the same as your dribbling. It's an attribute. I think he's in that category below world-class, but with the ability to be world-class. And if he could shake these injury problems, the way you see him play, the way he carries the ball, it's so important because passing is key. The ball moves faster than anybody can dribble with it. But teams need a player that can beat a man and break forward with it. Sometimes it drags people out of position. It's very basic football. I'm teaching people to suck eggs that are watching. But I like Kovacic, and I as a footballer, he's highly talented. And, you know, he was at Real Madrid, now he's at Chelsea. He's played for two of the biggest clubs in Europe, two of the most powerful clubs in Europe. You have to be good to do that. It's just those injury problems that hold him back for me. It really, really is those injury problems that hold him back. But I'd love to get your thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen. Terry, we topped the group on goal difference. Yeah, I don't think it's goal difference. I think it goes to head-to-heads in the Champions League. I believe if you're level on points. So you essentially, when you look at it, you will finish top because even if Zagreb would have to win tonight against AC and then beat you on the final day of the season at the final game of the round. Sorry, the final day of the season. Final game of the round. Final game of the group stages. My words are all getting mixed up tonight. To be able to beat you. But you haven't 100% done it, but you will do it. Yeah, absolutely. Say what you want. Kai always scores important goals. He has scored a lot of clutch goals. He has scored a lot of clutch goals for Chelsea. I don't think you can get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, again, we know this. We know that he can show up in certain circumstances, and he's done quite well in tournaments, cups, whatever. But what I've seen on Chelsea Twitter is that they want to see that more. So we know that, but how can he replicate that on a more regular basis? I think we all know that he has that big game ability, and that's important. You know, you can't be, a world-class player that doesn't show up in big games. So he has that, but can he do it day in and day out? And that's just kind of where we're at with Kai Havertz, I think. So, yeah. But yeah. Let's see what else.
So I was just typing something. So I need you to keep talking.
I was like, what's going on here? I didn't know what was going on. Another player that probably needs a shout out is Thiago Silva. I think we say it all the time, but I think it was Daniel was saying it earlier in the group, or he said it on Twitter, that he's been the best, center back this season, English football, whatever. And I just kind of scoffed at it, then went back and looked at, the statistics and stuff. And I think because Chelsea had been underperforming, nobody's really paying any attention to him. But on today, he was immense. And I think he's like that almost every single game, but nobody really says anything. And I'm not sure why. Just because you've been around for a while doesn't mean you don't need your flowers, right?
Sometimes in life, and this is just a life lesson that echoes in football, we're so used to him, the novelty's worn off. We know how good he is. He's not being spoken about. And Chelsea fans are in this very weird little space at the minute. There isn't a Chelsea fan I've come across who's gassed. They're being so reserved about how their players are performing, about Graham Potter. They're not getting ahead of themselves. And the word is Chelsea are underperforming, as you've just said. But I don't know how true that is. From when they got rid of their manager, when did they sack him? Was it when did they sack your manager, Javan?
After the Dinamo Zagreb.
Yeah, after they lost to Dinamo Zagreb. So since the Dinamo Zagreb game, Chelsea haven't lost a match. They've drawn 3. They drew against Salzburg in Potter's first game with no training. And then they drew with Brentford. And they could have won that game. Great saves from the goalkeeper. And they've drawn with Man United. They've won the rest of the games. Chelsea aren't struggling anymore. Chelsea's run of form under Graham Potter, and I'm just looking at it now. They've scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 goals they've scored. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clean sheets in those 9 games as well. and they haven't even integrated fully yet. And I think Thiago Silva, he probably has been, he's been one of the best centre-backs this year. I think you've got Saliba, Martinez, Rafael Varane that have got a claim to that. They've got a claim to it. But Thiago Silva has been so consistent. He hasn't made catastrophic mistakes, and you wouldn't expect him to. And to be doing it at 37 years of age, there's no doubt about it. He's very good indeed. And there was another comment that got put up here that says, Terry, do you think Chalobah should be in the World Cup team? There is an argument for Chalobah to be in the World Cup squad. I don't think he has never lost the game for Chelsea that he started. And I swear that stretches over 30 games right now. I've got to have to look at the stat. And Chalobah was very good tonight as well. Chalobah was very, very, very good tonight. Very good tonight indeed. Again, assured, composed on the ball, defended well, good at playing out from the back. And again, just maybe a little bit underrated, even by Chelsea fans maybe. Because again, I think if a defender goes through a game and you're not really noticing them, it's a very good thing. It's a very good thing if you're not noticing them.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I don't want to be that person. I don't know if he should be in the World Cup squad. I do think Chalobah is a good player, but like I don't see anything immensely special, about him. Am I allowed to be honest, you guys? Like, I know you guys won the game, but like, what am I supposed to say? I'm just saying my truth. I don't know.
Say your truth. Stop. I don't sit on the fence on the football terrace. That ain't what we're about.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I just said.
Well, you're saying it, but you're saying it through bated breath.
Yeah, because I'm because I know we're saying, okay, we're saying all this positive stuff, and everything is positive, right? Like played well, won the game. But when you ask about Chalobah, and I've heard Chelsea fans say this as well, that they don't think that he's up to the standard. So, and when I watch him, I think he's just probably that tier below, probably like Zuma or whoever else that probably won't make it long term and just is playing well at the moment, So those are kind of my thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see some more from him. My point would be this: if everybody's fit, does he play? And if he isn't getting picked when everybody else is fit, maybe that's the answer there. But again, he's looked good since he's come back into the team, and maybe under Graham Potter, he's gonna flourish in that way. Chalobah remains unbeaten, 31 games and counting. I mean, that's a sensational statistic. It really, really is. Moose Wizard here says, if you told me after the first two games would be within a chance of winning the group today, if Milan beat Greb after 5 games, I would certainly have taken it. Yeah, I think where Chelsea were after those first 2 games, the way they started the season, you're on the edge of the top 4. You're qualifying for the next round of the Champions League. And I think life at Chelsea is only going to get better, in my opinion.
Also reinforces Todd Bowley's decision maybe to move on from Tuchel and bring in Graham Potter. I know there was a lot of, why'd you do that? But I think the form and what you're seeing under Graham Potter reinforces that was probably the right move at the right time.
Yeah, 110%. Silva is an all-time great. Chalobah has been... Sorry, this one here. Chalobah has been Chalobah has used this time with him to take his game to the next level. That's what's been the real story for me. It's a very good shout there. If you're playing with Thiago Silva and you're not learning, you don't deserve to be a footballer. Chelsea fan here, Terry, keep up the good work. Not a problem at all. And I do know, by the way, that these latter Champions League group games are difficult ones to talk about because unless you're losing and your team's in jeopardy, fans almost don't care about them. I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans tonight out for dinner and stuff going, I'll keep up to date online. Like even Chelsea fans aren't watching. Do me a big, big favor though and scan that QR code you can see down there in the corner and get Top Kicks downloaded. They've got a new game that's now out as well called Stardust, and I played it tonight. I came second in the world tonight. Look.
Oh, wow.
But look who I picked as my star player tonight.
Kai Havertz.
I picked Kai Havertz as my star player tonight, and he just missed out. We came second. Out of everyone in the world, I came second tonight. So get that downloaded, and my team's ready. My team is ready for the rest of the games to kick off, and I got some serious cards this week as well. I got 2 times 2 Neymars, meaning every point that Neymar gets in the Champions League, I'm going to get doubled. 2 gold cards of Neymar. I'm very happy. And I also got 2 gold Jude Bellingham cards as well. And I'm going to cook KJ tonight. And anyone else who's following me, make sure you follow me on Top Kicked as well. Just search for Football Terrace. Come find me, come follow me, and get yourselves involved. My team is looking good. I've got a bit of Son in there. Who else have I got in there tonight? Oh, I've got Benzema as well. I've been cooking in there recently. So get the app downloaded, get your team picked, and get it ready for the match day. You've still got a few more. You can still enter the competition now, even though the game's just kicked off. Scan that QR code, get it downloaded. It's available all around the world, and it is free. Let's go to some calls now. I want to know what some viewers and some callers have got to say here. First up, David's with us. What you saying, mate?
Better performance today. But I'm still not getting ahead of myself. I saw things that I'd want to see more of them. I saw a lot of cutbacks coming in from like wide positions, which I think are the most effective way to score your goals. We just have to finish those chances. But, you know, Chelsea are not finishing. That's like a marriage. So it'll be tough to break it. Well, in some cases. I don't know. Thiago Silva is the best centre-back in the world. Terry, the fact you said like Martinez and Saliba, and that was just outrageous.
No, I didn't say they're better than him. I said in terms of hang on a minute. Let me clarify. In terms of who's been the best in the Premier League this year, I said those players have got a shout at it. I didn't say they were better than Thiago Silva.
Not even like Thiago Silva.
You are educated.
He's like
control
here.
Your emotions
Thiago
here.
Silva is like here, and then the others of them are like here.
So even based on performances this year,
even based on the performances this year, he's been amazing.
Okay,
he's been amazing this year. And Chalobah is, as Jess said, he's all right. Like, there's not much. Like, I'm not one of these people that's going to get really hyped about another youth player because I've seen this youth player.
We agreed on something.
About 30. I've seen him about 30 times. Like, he will play well and he'll have his games, but I don't really see anything where I go like, oh, that's something that that's really special. But I may be proven wrong, but as of today, that's my opinion. Also, Kovacic, world-class game, and I'll leave it at that. That's it. That's what I'm going to say. You see,
I hear you. Well, let me ask you this question, David. Why are you and Chelsea fans not getting more excited? Is it because, let me ask you bluntly, is it because Graham Potter's English and he doesn't have Champions Leagues or whatever else on his CV? Because I feel like if Graham Potter was somebody else who'd won the Liga one time, he'd won the Bundesliga, and he'd won a Champions League, and everything else was the same, I think there'd be... What's the reason for not having more excitement? Is it his CV? Is it English? Both of them? What is it?
My personal reason is that from what I saw at Brighton, I was expecting a lot of really expansive, attacking, like progressive football, and I haven't seen that yet. I'm seeing elements of it. I can see pieces, but it hasn't come together yet. Once I see it come together consistently, that's when I'll get excited. But right now, it's like it's kind of a Tuchel team in terms of they're really good defensively, but when it gets the attacking third, we kind of break down a little bit and kind of are still trying to figure out what we are. So that's why I'm not getting too excited just yet. But again, today was one of the first days where I looked at it and went, I can see what we're trying to do in the final third. So that's why I'm a bit like last time when I came on after the Champions League game, I was there a bit like, good performance could be better. This performance is like, we actually did quite well, just need to finish those chances. So there's a slight difference from the last game to this game. And that's progression, which is what we want. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people here saying, like, he's just come in, he's just arrived, etc. But that's my point. Like, you got a new man, your things are going wrong. You got a new manager come in that everybody was raving about in the Prem. 9 games. And when I say excited, I don't mean saying we're going to win the league, we're going to do the double, we're going to do a quad. But just, I'm not even hearing from about 50% of fans, I'm really excited about what might happen. And that's what I mean. I'm not talking polarization of we're winning the league now. Just, I'm really excited about what Graham Potter might produce. There just seems to be a bit of a, I don't know what it is. It's almost everyone's just keeping very tight-lipped. Is it because maybe some Chelsea fans got too carried away with Tuchel and they don't want to do it again? Like, is this about people protecting themselves online? It just feels kind of really quiet in the Chelsea fan base right now.
I really don't know. I do think Potter's CV is also part of that as well. Like if he had won at Bayern Munich and he'd won at Juve and then he came here, I feel like it'd be a bit more, okay, we know what this guy could do. With Potter, it's like he beat Arsenal with Ostersund, which is great, but like we already feel like we should be beating Arsenal anyway, so it's not really like a progressive kind of thing. And we all know that at the higher the levels you get, it's not as easy to progress those teams. You can progress Brighton from being a low-tier Premier League team to a mid-tier Premier League team and make it look really good, because the gap the gap to get from low-tier to mid-tier is, how do I phrase this correctly, is a lot smaller than the gap to go from a very good team to an elite team. The gap, if you try to understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I totally agree where you're coming from. I'm just trying to ascertain how Chelsea fans, because I can't tell Chelsea fans how they feel. I can only tell them what it looks like. And it just feels, someone said that I'm still in love with Tuchel. Maybe there's a little bit of that. Maybe some have just not got over.
I'm still heartbroken. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still heartbroken. That was my guy.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe you guys haven't had any time to grieve. Because normally, how do I put this? It was so sudden. It was so bang. I don't think anyone had time. And then suddenly Graham Potter was here. It was so out of the blue, almost like there was no time to process. Normally what you get is death by 1,000 cuts, and you can see it coming for 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks. So I think fans have time to realize it's coming at some point, and then it happens. And maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it's very weird in the Chelsea fan base at the minute, because you're in a really good position. Your new owners are spending money hand over fist, improving all areas, and it just seems to be a lot of holding of breath. But there we go, mate.
I do also think that the squad is a massive part of that as well. If we had better squad players, I think there'd be a bit more excitement. But Loftus-Cheek is still kicking about, Ziyech still kicking about, Pulisic is still kicking about. These players are still there. So, yeah.
I appreciate that. David, listen, mate, really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Man, speak soon. Thank you very much indeed. Next on the show, we're going to speak to Abs. What you saying, bro?
Listen. I went through the trenches for my guy. He was getting a lot of slack from the Chelsea fans, all trying to tell me this thing of, Kovacic is robbed, Kovacic just passes about, he just dribble, what are you saying now? What are you telling me now? What are all these Kovacic haters, especially, listen, I've been fighting my fan base on Twitter for the longest time, but, obviously I'm happy, man. No Europa League, no Thursday nights, that's all we can really ask for. I ain't getting too gassed yet, because David just said it a second ago. It's the same bummy players. It's the same guys who've let down bare managers, Lampard, Tuchel, and at some point, what's his name, Grandpa. So we'll just have to see what I'll go on. But I'm happy with the performance today. Trevor Chalobah as well, He's low-key been our best player this season, now that I deep it. Like, every single game, he just drops a masterclass. Everyone's saying, Trev's going to get sold, Trev this, Trev that. Why? I thought football was about merit. And on merit, no person deserves to start in this team ahead of him. And Wesley Fofana comes back. I ain't trying to jinx it or nothing, but he don't just walk straight back into the team. Based on what exactly? And if he does, listen, I love Thiago Silva, but if I'm dropping one man at the minute, it has to be Silva for Fofana. Because ain't no way on this form that Chalobah's getting dropped, man. But yeah, masterful performance, man. Last 16, we got to do a couple things here and there. Still seeing that full in midfield, Jorginho doing up stripping sessions again. Hopefully they don't renew his contract and we get rid of him ASAP. So yeah, other than that, we've been fine. Havertz good, Cover good, Pulisic, Conor Gallagher was very good today as well. No one mentioned that, but he's been very good today. And yeah, that's about it, man.
Mate, I appreciate your call, mate. Thanks for coming on. Good speaking. Chat again soon, bro. Top man. Thank you. DR's on with us now. Another big Chelsea fan. What are you saying, bro?
I need people to realize this. The only centre back that can rival Thiago Silva of all time. I mean, Maldini, yeah, whatever. But if Brazil wins World Cup, Thiago Silva goes down as one of the greatest defenders, centre backs to ever play the game. I need people to realize that right now. This guy, oh my goodness. It was Kepa when he went out to punch the ball, and the only person you see come back and read the game to block it is Thiago Silva. People need to understand Thiago Silva is 37, 38, and Ronaldo is almost, I think he's the same age. Yes, different positions. Yes, different physical attributes are needed to required to play that position. But Thiago Silva is just insane. He is insane. Chalobah for me. When we bought Fofana, I was thinking, well, does this mean Chalobah goes on loan or do we sell him? And I'm thinking, why? He was very good in his debut season. He was strong. The only thing Chalobah needs to work on is his physique and his physicality in terms of like not being outran. But he's not that slow, and he reads the game really well. He's got the best defender in the world right now, in my opinion, with Thiago Silva teaching him the ropes. Yeah, Kai Havertz. The reason we get onto him is consistency. We know he's good. We know the guy is good. It's just consistency. The guy lacks consistency. If Kai Havertz was more consistent in just scoring goals, we wouldn't be complaining about what he is, because that price tag is mad. But that's why we know how talented. We've seen how he plays for Germany off the right hand side. The guy can play damn near anywhere, really.
Yeah, well, I think it's like anyone in those positions. If you're playing in those attacking forward positions, there comes a point where all the flicks and tricks and nice touches and lovely passes and drops of the shoulders, they're all great. But if at the end of it, there's no end product, it's pointless. You're better off having a player that looks trash but delivers than a player that looks brilliant and there's nothing at the end of it. And that, you're right, that's the element that he's got to add in. And I do get your point about Thiago Silva as well. I think he's definitely in the mix as, one of the best of this generation at the very least. I think it's a mass and maybe one of the greatest of all time. He's so good. I think the only thing that damages him, and this isn't a dig, he spent such a long time playing for PSG in a nothing league.
Yes.
And I think if he'd have spent those years killing it in La Liga or the Premier League, I think he'd already be crowned as one of the greatest ever. The point is, because no one watches Liga, especially when he was there, because there was no Mbappe, there was no Messi. No one watched it, so no one knows how good or bad he was. Does that make sense? Like, no one watched him, so it's hard, mate. It really is. But yeah, how excited? Can I ask you a quick question? How excited are you about the future under Graham Potter?
I think people need to understand Graham Potter's a different type of manager. I'm beginning to realize this man has plans, and with a plural S. This guy is tactically, his team, his management, his coaching team, they're always on the move. They're thinking of the game. And what I like about that means we are flexible and we are reactive. Now, if we have different types of players with different attributes, we can play anyone. It's not like, oh, this certain team has this, we'll struggle with it. If we have players with different skill sets at top level, Potter will not have a consistent 11. He will switch things. We saw how we took off Cucurella in the last game, like reacted immediately to Manchester United. And I think players will grow under this guy. I think Potter, I am one of those Chelsea fans that I'm excited. I know people are downplaying. It's just, you don't want to look bad on the internet. You don't want to look, I really don't care sometimes, but the future is looking bright. I'm yet to see a loss, but hey, when that happens, that happens. And to speak, I think with Chalobah and the England caller, and people like Jess have like a fair point. You don't see anything special. He's one of those centre backs that don't really do anything special, but they're consistent in like their decision making tends to be good. The only bad game I remember, and I think you'll remember this as well, Terry. The only bad game I can really remember Chalobah was against Luis Diaz in Wembley. When we played them, Luis Diaz, he knew he was a young guy.
And it won't just be because of him in games. You haven't lost. There'll be other people, goal scorers, other defenders, but he definitely improved a lot. And I'm sure he's very, very proud of his record, bro. I appreciate you coming in and having your say. I really do, and we'll chat again soon, brother. Take care, mate. Thank you very much indeed. I do think what's interesting is the Graham Potter thing. I do think it's a thing of. There's an element, I think there's some that are, I don't want to get carried away again because they're not sure about the world under Todd Bowley. They're not sure about the world up with a new manager. And then I also think there's a percentage of Chelsea fans who it's almost everyone was raving about, like every few years, there's a new manager that comes around that everyone says, oh, he could be a top manager. But there's one thing everybody's saying, oh, someone's got to give Potter a chance. And then it's your club being the one that's done it because there's that pressure of it. But I just think if Potter was a bit more fashionable, maybe there'd be a little bit more. It's just weird, like to see a team win so many of these opening 9 games, and we've not really had one moment on the terrace where anyone's really come on and gone and actually been celebrating. They've celebrated players doing things, but no one's actually come on for like 4-5 weeks on the terrace now as a Chelsea fan and gone, I'm happy with my team. It's the first time I've ever seen that in 8 years on here that Chelsea fans are not that happy. It's interesting.
I don't know if they're just not that happy. I think everybody made a really good point that like even in the comments is they've seen this before under other managers. So they're probably okay with everything, but they just want to wait it out. And I feel like any fan base that gets a new manager, the manager does well, what does everybody tell them to do? Just wait a little bit, see how things pan out. And it looks good. But sometimes I just think like, I think they're doing the right thing personally. I think you have to just kind of like wait and see a little bit longer, because if you need to wait with anybody, it's probably a manager that hasn't managed at this level yet. You know, the better your CV and the more you have, you know. So I'm sure they're enjoying what they're seeing. They're just
keeping their powder dry. And I do get it. I think that's what it is. I do think that's what it is. I'm just intrigued by it. Because you're getting it from a few fan bases at the minute. They're just a little bit quiet. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. We're live again after the 8 p.m. kickoff, which I know most of you have gone to watch as of right now. Please download and install Top Kicks 23. Come and follow us. And I didn't tell you this at the start. I'm telling you now. Everyone who downloads the app and installs it this week are going to go into a free draw to win a Champions League shirt of your choice. So get yourself signed up and follow me. And if you're following me, one of you is going to be picked. So get on there, search the Football Terrace. I'm the only one. Come give me a follow to win a Champions League shirt of your choice and join in the best digital collectibles app in the world. It's lots of fun. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thank you. What is that way?